Hey friends.
Greg and Stacy here, Kzoo Keto. Update on our carb day.
Day 3.
Wow, week 3, right?
Week 3.
So,
third carb day.
quick recap. Started carb day 3 weeks ago on a Saturday. Today's Sunday. Irrelevant, but so in the process of trying to get out of our stalls, we have tried to mix it up a little bit, get our body confused. So we introduced a carb day. So pretty much it's, for the most part, no holds barred on certain things. Basically the idea is to get your carbs over 50, eating traditional stuff, and then going more hardcore starting on Sunday through the rest of the week, back to full keto. And seen a lot of good things on this, a lot of research, and got a lot of comments on some of these things, which we all appreciate. So the intent was, this plan generally takes about three to 4 weeks, and you generally do it for at least up to 6 weeks. So as much as we would have loved to have seen progress initially, we weren't expecting it. And that's kind of where we are right now. We're probably in a point where we should start seeing progress. Although we're going to talk real quick on the things that we have eaten. Now, obviously, during the week we've done full keto. I did my fasting. I did all the other stuff. It's been a rough week though. So I will.
Lord, yeah.
I will be the first person that we had some sickness in here, non-COVID, but some COVID scares, school, all that stuff. A lot of stress going on, a lot of challenges, and Stacy and I weren't fantastic with it. We turned to a little bit of extra snacking that we wouldn't normally done. So in the end of the week, we're pretty close to where we were at the end. Now keep in mind it was all keto during the week. We didn't deviate from that at all, but we did add in, I think you had some fiberish foods once.
No, I didn't do any of those. We just did the
we had a
keto
couple
ice cream bar.
Costco ice cream bars,
and then Friday night I had a rum and Coke Zero.
Yeah, it was a difficult, challenging week. So
it was the worst birthday week ever.
Yeah. So, and needless to say, we didn't stick to plan nearly as much as we would like to, and what we hoped to. But at the end of the week, my numbers are pretty much the same as they were last week. Now, what is interesting is the fact that my muscle mass has increased and my bone weight has also increased. So although my weight itself is the same, I've lost fat, which is interesting. And I did feel a little differently towards maybe the end of the week. And you know, last weekend we were really looking forward to carb day, and this weekend it was kind of eh. Like there was a few things where like, hey, we're gonna do this, but nothing really.
I wanted cake for my birthday.
Yeah, nothing really like super like jumping out at us type of deal.
We got a local grocery chain makes the jumbo cupcakes, so I got one for each of us. Which
was a staple for every time Stacy went to this.
Pretty much.
Yeah, every time she would come home with cupcakes.
Especially when they're on sale for like $1.
Right. So, anyway, that was something that was on the docket. We also had a pot pie, flake.
Grand Traverse Pie Company.
Yep.
So we did, which is kind of local. I mean, they're obviously Grand Traverse, which in Michigan is like up here.
I don't think it's related to that at all.
It is. It's Grand Traverse Pie Company.
That's the name of it. I don't think it's related to Grand Traverse.
It is.
Okay.
I
stand corrected. She must have done research.
Anyway, so they have a restaurant down here which has miraculously survived through COVID, which is awesome. And I had never had anything from there because I was not a pie person, but they do chicken pot pie, and it has things in it that I would not have eaten
Peas,
pre-keto.
Carrots, celery.
Cooked carrots I didn't like, but celery, peas, carrots, like none of that stuff I would have done. Usually whenever I had a pot pie, it was the crappy, what did we say it was, banquet?
Yeah.
The crappy banquet frozen ones when I was a kid. They're nasty. So that was my like viewpoint on pot pies. It has changed. We've had some keto pot pies, which were good.
Yep. I think the few things that you did eat that weren't really keto. I think you had a Rice Krispie treat. And what else did you have?
The cupcake.
The cupcake.
Popcorn.
And popcorn.
Some pretzels, which I think I'm kind of done with pretzels now.
Then we had leftover lasagna from the week before.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much it. Overall, I'd say it's still a good 100. And I finally, for the first time today, and we'll cover these numbers in a second, but for the first time today, I finally found myself getting knocked out of ketosis. So, I mean, it might have happened, but I don't know. So this morning, it's funny, I'm kind of excited about it, but this morning, prior to me eating anything, I was at low and my glucose was spiked. So I feel like this is the trend based on the research that I've seen that sort of suggests the fact that my body is confused and it doesn't know what it's doing. And that's what we want. That's what we're trying to accomplish here. So Stacy's had some consistent low numbers, I think.
Yeah, my ketones have been, like yesterday they were 0.1, today they're
Right.
low, which 0.1 and 0.2, maybe 0.3 is what they've been for quite some time.
Yep.
Low is not super rare for me, but my my glucose was only 96
This morning.
compared to I think 101 last week and 110 the week before.
Now keep in mind that I generally focus on a more of a higher fat intake than Stacy does. She does a lot of lean proteins. So that could be, you know, a factor. Also, everybody's a little different on keto and how it affects us, but so there's a good possibility that this isn't as much of a change to Stacy as it is probably to me, because like I said, I kind of focus more on the good fats for fuel type situation, where she's more of a chicken. And there's part of the reasons for that is because early on she had some issues because she has had her gallbladder removed. And a lot of the research there suggests that because of that, you want to stick more to a protein-ish as opposed to a super high fat. So that, and also she has aversions to fat in general, like fat pieces, right? Like she'll pick the fat pieces off of the brisket that she eats. So
I don't like to chew forever.
right. So moral of the
And
story.
then swallowing that slimy stuff is just
Yeah. So the moral of the story is that we in ourselves do keto. A lot of times we're sharing a meal, but oftentimes we are doing it a little bit different than one another, and that kind of sucks. So, but anyway, let's just go through our numbers real quick. Yesterday, prior to starting carb day, before we had eaten any carbs at all, my blood pressure was 112/70 with a pulse of 73. My glucose is 101, and my ketones were 0.3, which is not terrible. That's pretty good for being on keto as long as I have. This morning though, low ketones and 105 glucose, so it did elevate a little bit. Now this is fasting glucose, and fasting glucose, it might have been 7 hours since the previous thing to eat when I tested it, so it might be a little higher than normal in that context. But obviously it is significantly changing some stuff. Weight was virtually, I think I lost 1.5 pounds compared to last week's total. So, but I'm basically been between the 220 and the 225 mark for 9 months. So at first when I started the carb day, I saw my weight go up, which is normal. And then now I'm starting to see it sort of plateau and come back down again. So it's really hard to fluctuate that, but based on some of the things I've been feeling this week, and you know, like I said, high stress, very high stress. So that could also affect all of this too. And maybe this is a terrible time to do this example when we're dealing with all this extra stress. So we're gonna keep at it. We're gonna keep doing it. And I think a lot of you guys are really interested in what we find out on this. I have a colleague who has done this. Like he was stalled for like a year and a half. He went low carb, he went low fat, he's done a lot of different things, and he was always at that 220 mark. And he does rigorous exercise, he does all kinds, just trying to lose that last 20 pounds and just to get to the weight that he really wanted to be at, and nothing worked. He tried changing all kinds of thyroid enhancing things, and you know, doing lots of research, spending a lot of money on blood draws, trying to get all kinds of different numbers, and none of it worked. He started to do the carb day after I talked to him about it, and after 6 weeks he was down that 20 pounds. So that's kind of where we're coming at from this concept. You know, Stacy and I aren't huge working out people. I know that Joel threw that out there as a suggestion. it's hard to find the time, and when we do have the time, it's the last thing we want to do. So we just don't have the discipline for that yet. Maybe someday, maybe when the kids are gone.
It's definitely a mental thing too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, one thing that I've talked about with Greg is we do have the Apple Fitness Plus or whatever that is that comes with our Apple stuff that we have.
Right.
And they have like yoga and stuff on there, and I've thought about trying to get that at least started, like a 10-minute yoga thing, just also to help like with the pandemic and everything that's going on, something that will help kind of center and de-stress and calm and all that.
Yeah, and I golf, and when I golf, I generally walk, so that's the mental stimulus that sort of helps with all of that, and I wasn't able to do that this last week, so it's been a challenge, but hey, we're on the other side of it. We're doing well. At the end of the week, even with a couple mishaps, we're not any worse for wear. You want to talk about your numbers?
Yeah, so the interesting thing about mine is when I took my glucose yesterday morning, before anything, I mean, the only thing I would have taken by then was my thyroid med. And I do that every morning. And then when we do test our ketones and all that, it's with that in it, right? So yesterday, my glucose was 102. Today, my glucose is 96. Not real sure what happened
Time
there.
did you stop eating last night?
10, 11 o'clock. I don't know. We were up pretty late watching the show or the movie.
Yeah, the movie. And then you tested it, was it 10 hours later? Ish?
It was probably close to somewhere between 9:30, 10 o'clock this morning.
Okay.
Actually, probably after 10 o'clock. So it was more than 10 hours. It was probably closer to 12 hours. So as I said, the ketones yesterday it was 0.1. Today it's low, which no surprise there. Weight, my weight actually I got down. I almost lost. I didn't gain as much, I should say, from yesterday as I did last time. Last time I gained 5. This time I gained like 3.5 from yesterday to today. So I'm right back at that 220 point something mark. We'll see. We'll see next week. I'm almost ready. Like I told Greg before, kind of ready to be done with this.
You just go back to full keto?
And just go back to regular keto.
Well, I think one of the important things to really, and I know your experiences, we talked about this a little bit already, but other than that first weekend that I did it, I haven't had any digestive issues.
No, I haven't had that either, surprisingly. Even with the Rice Krispie treat.
Even with the Rice Krispie treat. So, the big thing here that I've been focusing on is like, yeah, I mean, carbs are the devil, so to speak, but if even those in moderation, I think our bodies are going to be able to process them okay, unless you have some intolerance, which you should find out pretty quickly with this. And I had done an allergy panel, and I thought I was allergic to gluten, but it appears that I'm not. And even introducing the low carb tortillas and the keto bread and stuff like that, no issues. If anything, it binds me up, and so that could be more of an issue. But overall, I mean, no stomach problems. Like I had the pizza the one night, which, I mean, of all the meals that we've had on keto, I think that's probably the least healthiest in context. It's a chain, but the pot pie, obviously the pastry around the pot pie, not great, but stuff in it.
Probably the gravy
might have a little sugar in it.
full of crap.
But I don't know. I mean, it depends. I mean, it's a pretty upscale type place. I mean, it certainly wasn't cheap buying it, but yeah, I mean, even Stacy eating pretzels, which she said something that was just crazy that she's done with them.
Yeah.
That was the thing that she was like, oh yeah, I love these things. I'm so glad I could eat them.
They were great the first week, and last week they were pretty okay, and then this week I was just like, these just need to be gone. I'm just going to eat them and get them gone, and I'm not going to worry about buying them again.
So,
like, even the whole, like, remember way back when I found the brownie filled pretzels at Meijer.
Mhm.
I almost bought those last weekend, but I was like, nah, I'll save it for another carb weekend. I thought about it again this weekend. I was like, I just don't want it.
One of the interesting parts of this whole exercise is it really tweaks your discipline in different ways that I find to be interesting, because last week, carb day, just we were excited about it, right? This week, even though all the stress, like, it was okay. Like, we're gonna do this, but it isn't really something we're super looking forward to. I think more about the lack of restrictions of getting food out that probably has become the more exciting aspect of this to us. Like, hey, we don't have to be, if we order food out of the house, even if we bring it home or eat it there or whatever, we don't have to like over scrutinize everything, which is challenging. So having that one day of not having to stress about it too much is kind of a relief in and of itself, as opposed to being able to like just gorge your face on anything you want. So anyway, that's an interesting thing, but that's pretty much updates from us on that. Progressing well, and
Halfway through the experiment.
halfway through. We got 3 more weeks, and hopefully we will start reporting some really good positive changes, because that's where we're supposed to see it, right? From what research we've done. So anything else from you? No? Okay. So that's it. That's our update. Ultimately, pretty much the same place we were last week. Not really. Stacy's down a little bit. I've noted a little bit of fat loss, but my muscle and bones have also increased as a result of probably storing more
That was another thing I wanted to say.
sugar in my muscles.
My muscle hasn't changed. You said that. My muscle hasn't changed from last week to this week. Maybe like 0.2, one way or the other. I can't remember which. My bone density, as I've seen in the past, continues to fluctuate. It's up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why that happens with me.
I think it's about a combination of water and stuff, but it's an interesting thing. And who knows how accurate it really is, but I mean, $50 scale, it could be useful. Thanks for checking in with us. That's our update for this week. Hope to do more. Tune in next week for our next update. And I think we also got a Carbaholic video coming up too. So make sure you...
No, not a Carbaholic video.
So we also have a Cookbook Keto episode coming up as well with Nate. So make sure you tune into that one. Hey, we're actually doing it, guys. We're putting out more videos more often. So, and managing everything else that's going on in the world. So, yay us. We're adults. But thanks for watching. Make sure, even if you're doing this experiment with us and it's not Saturday, make sure you
Stay keto.
and we'll see you guys in the next video.